Alright guys, jumping back into the tournament for Tech Finding Brawlers, so we are taking on the slowest team in the West. Well, in the world actually. The Ronso Fangs. Guado Gory's taking on the Luca Goers. Nice. See how this goes. To be honest, I actually don't know if the if the Ronso are from the West. I think they're from the Northeast, I think, of Spira. I don't know. Honestly, I'm a little bit loose on my knowledge of Spira, because I think there might be some supporting content, and like I know there's like I don't know, there was a whole novella and stuff, so it probably goes into more like in depth on like what's outside of Spira and all those lands. But I know Besaid is in the Southwest, I believe, and then Baj is in the far west, something like that. I mean, I guess anything's east if you go far enough, right? By definition, unless you are a spear and flat earther, which, I mean, maybe that's how that works. Maybe it is a flat earth. I don't know. Getting controversial in this episode of Blitzball. Is Spira a flat earth or no? Wait, no, it's isn't it a globe, because the scene was Sin, where you zoom out and it's just shooting like I don't know, right before you fight Sin the first time. It's, yeah, that cutscene where it zooms out into like space. Yeah. So we have the answer already. It only took us like a minute too. I mean, that's a record. But yeah, no. I always thought those scenes were interesting. I feel bad because as a kid, I remember the beginning of Final Fantasy X more than the later portions, and I'm getting more reacquainted. The thing is, like, I think that's everyone though, right? Because whenever you restart a game, like if you ever quit playing the game, you always see the beginning stuff first, and then the like ending last. So, you know, if you play up to Makalania, quit, and then a month later play again, you're just gonna see everything you saw up to Makalania. Like, does that make sense? I think it does. Yeah, it's kind of just funny how that works out, like how your memories are like, oh yeah, like I don't remember that scene because I beat the game 3 times, but I replayed it like 8 times. I don't know. Honestly, I might be the only person that like actually plays games like that, where I fall off, like I don't commit as much, and I'm just like, I'm kind of tired of this, so I just move on. I don't know. I feel like that's not necessarily that unusual. Seems pretty normal in my opinion. Yeah. It's funny too though, because some games, I mean, though that would not happen as much. Like Skyrim and stuff, it's very open world. So it feels like naturally you would probably just, you know, see a variety of things. Obviously there's like opening quests like the College of Winterhold and stuff like that, so you probably play those a lot. But everything else, you know, you would I don't know, you just would see a lot of new stuff. That's kind of my rant on on that. But no, yeah, it's kind of cool how like you see so much more. Yeah, I talked about it last video actually, but it would be interesting to see like a remake of Final Fantasy X, because one, my main point with that is it would automatically include a remake of Blitzball, which would be really nice to see. And then secondary, it's just cool to see remakes and like new ways and new takes and all that stuff. I don't know, I feel like that's kind of controversial, because I know some people are like, don't remake the game ever, like leave it alone, don't touch it, and if you remake it, I just want like a mere replica in Unreal Engine 5. That's all I want, you know. I want every game mechanic to be the exact same, which I think is kind of boring, you know. I don't know, like I feel like I'm okay with because that's just a remaster at that point. That's not really a remake. I'm okay with some creative designs and changes and stuff, and I don't know if I'm in the minority. I kind of just like have a mentality though of, if they remake Final Fantasy X and it's terrible, like just don't play the remake. Like that's fine. I guess arguments against that, which I would understand, is if they remake Final Fantasy X and then continue a story based off of a terrible remake, that would really suck. Because you're like, oh, I hated the remake, and now it just gets worse and worse. And then 2, it eliminates the chance for remake, right? So if you're like, oh, I want a remake, but I want it a specific way, and Square remakes the game, they're not going to then remake it a third time, like anytime soon, because they've already done it once, you know? And I think, I don't know how true this is going to ring. I think with the success, or if Final Fantasy VII Remake is successful, I think it has been. I don't actually know from like a numbers standpoint, but it feels like it's been fairly successful. I think that'll prompt them to lean more towards remakes, because, Final Fantasy VII really is the baby. It's like the golden RPG, that in 10. So I think if they were going to, like if 7 was really successful, they'd be like, oh, maybe other ones. Yeah, Waka level 42, more HP shoot, all that stuff. Arguably it hasn't been the first remake Square's ever done. It's not uncommon for them to remake games, because they did it with all the, 3 and 4 as well, right? And then 5. I actually don't recall everything they remade, but they remade a few things. It was not unusual, so... Yeah, you got Letty with the ball here. We're going to kind of push around, see what we can do. Yeah. I am also looking forward to playing Final Fantasy VII Remake on PC. I've heard it's a mixed bag of feelings, though. So what I've heard, and I don't know if this rings true, it probably does ring true, is that it's a little bit unstable, and the options for graphical changes are not in depth. Like, there actually isn't a lot of changes. Like, it just kind of looks the same, which I think is a big shame if that's the case. I would hope that the options you have are greatly expanded, but that just might not be the case, right? Who really knows, you know? Probably the people who have actually played it, but yeah. No, I was talking to Fafnir Fang about this, because they had asked, like, hey, are you going to play the remake of 7? Like, what's the plan? And I'm going to play it, but I'm not going to play it anytime soon. So I'm basically, like, I'm going to do Final Fantasy 7 and 6 and all that stuff in the Let's Plays, and I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to go through all that, but my goal is to, like, once I reach Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 1, like, when I reach playing that, potentially, fingers crossed, other parts of the remake are already released. So I can do like, oh, I'm going to do remake part 1 and then remake part 2. You know, I don't dare hope that remake part 3 will be released by the time I play it, because I'm not going to wait that long, but I do want to give some buffer room. Just kind of like, you know, so I kind of have a smoother transition. I don't know, maybe it's like selfish, because like once Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 comes out, I'm probably going to play it pretty immediately. It depends. If I had to buy a PS5 for it, that's going to be a huge bummer, because I don't want to... It's really expensive. Like, for me to like buy a PS5 and Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, and then being like, that's all I need the PS5 for, and then just like not use it. I guess I could sell it. That's the plan, right? You get the PS5 Pro 360 no scope edition, whatever they call them now, and then you sell it like when you finish the game. You're just like, I don't need this anymore. Yeah. Then you just wait patiently for PC. Yeah. I don't know. I'm one of those people though where I don't actually like. I'll watch like Let's Plays and all that stuff, but if I really want to like experience a game for the first time, like I don't like doing that as my first experience of the game. Like watching someone else play it. Like I really want to be in control of it, which because it's just more fun, right? You get a better feel for the game and everything. I feel like that was like a very obvious thing to state. Like when you are playing the game, you get a better feel for it, but you do. We'll see how all that goes. It actually hasn't been... I mean, am I wrong in assuming it wouldn't be unusual to hear some sort of announcement for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2? Are they doing like... maybe I'm just stupid optimistic, but maybe like... When did Final Fantasy VII Remake release? Oh, April 2020. So is it ridiculous to think like, oh, April 2020, and then the next year they do some sort of DLC, and then a re-release of the game, and then like 2022 they do part 2, and then 2023 they do some sort of DLC, like to tie the game together, and then like every 2 years, right? I don't know. That might be a little bit too ambitious. Thinking that they could do every single remake and game in like 6 years. I don't know. It's tough to say. I think there was an interview though where they had said like, I mean, depending on if they just reuse a lot of the assets, like it would be quick. But it feels like a lot of the assets are unique. I don't know. It's a tough thing to like kind of reflect on for me because I actually don't know that much about game development. So I've just got blind hope of like, maybe they're gonna release it a new part every month. Oh man, you know. I mean, I would just hope it's not like a long period, because it feels like it'd be hard to get people to maintain like interest if you go to like every 5 years. Like that would just be insane, right? Like 10 years later, you get part 3. I mean, come on. And look at that. I didn't even try for it, but we got Wither Tackle 3. I mean, that is gold. That is absolute gold. A little bit of experience for them, a little bit for us. I'll take it. There it is. Yeah, it's just my small rant on Final Fantasy VII, though. But yeah, we 8-0 the Ronso Fangs. Guado Gories 2-1 the Luka Goers. So it's kind of embarrassing, but I actually don't know who I'm going to give Tech Find to. I mean, not Waka. Maybe like Jasu's the only one I know sucks at learning techniques. So I don't know. Sure. That. Hey, Brawler for Bada. Perfect. Alright, well thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And when you come back, we're going to be playing more Blitzball. Until next time.